Hey guys, this is FaZe. Welcome back to my channel. So a couple weeks ago, I purchased this all-new 6th generation iPad mini that Apple recently announced at their latest event. I bought it just to see if it could possibly become a Kindle alternative or just a nice on-the-go content consumption machine. Now, I'm a proud owner of the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which I use primarily for work. But before continuing, do not forget to give this video a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. After 2 weeks of using the new iPad mini, I discovered something interesting. How for people who don't want to have both a standard iPad and a Kindle, or they just want to embrace minimalism, this new iPad mini could be the best of both worlds, especially when it comes to reading books on it. For the longest time, there's been this huge debate between Kindle versus iPads. Kindles always end up winning due to its small, thin, and light form factor that is very close to the size of a paperback. On top of that, they have an amazing battery life and an e-ink display that's like reading from an actual book. However, for the past few years, I've observed that things have started to change when it comes to the iPad. But first things first, let's talk about the form factor of this new iPad mini. You see, for any e-reader, the size needs to be close to a book. It should be light and easy to hold since you'll literally be holding it for long periods of time. This is something I definitely cannot do with my 12.9-inch iPad Pro, as it is way too large to hold for long periods of time. Though the other iPads are of decent size, it's the iPad mini's size that actually is quite amazing. Look, I can actually hold this iPad in one hand. It's like the size of a standard book, and it's super thin and light. So when it comes to form factor, this iPad mini truly is fantastic. Now let's talk about two big things. Starting with the display. First, display size. The current Kindle Paperwhite has a 6-inch display, whereas the new iPad mini has a nice 8.3-inch display. In fact, even the new 2021 Kindle Paperwhite that Amazon just announced has a 6.8-inch display, which is still much smaller than the new iPad mini. And for me, the larger the screen is, the better it is to read on. Another thing I really enjoy about the iPad mini, especially this new one, is that I love the small bezels. It feels less clunky and provides a much larger display in still a smaller form factor. And most importantly, the 2-page layout on the iPad is just so much more pleasant. It feels much more like a paper book, and the Kindle screen feels a little cramped in comparison. But I will say, one of the things I love about the Kindle is its e-ink display. It does a fantastic job replicating real book pages, and it's great for outdoors due to its matte screen. Now, the display on the iPad is a glossy LCD one. However, latest advancements to the iPad's display have made it much better to read on. For an example, True Tone display. True Tone is designed to take the surrounding light levels and temperature and then adjust the color and intensity of the device's display to match. Apple believes this lets the display appear more natural while also preventing eye strain. And you know what? I think it actually does a pretty good job. Apple is using multi-channel sensors to monitor the surrounding light and adjust the display to match. That means that as you go about different environments and the light changes, you will see that your iPad's display changes as well. If you're in direct sunlight, True Tone will alter the temperature of your display to make colors appear more natural without blowing them out. If you're in a room with white lights, True Tone will go to work to make sure everything doesn't look washed out. Now, this is a very subtle effect, but one that can reduce the levels of eye strain that occur when you spend hours staring at a glowing screen. Next up, night shift. Researchers have been saying for years that reading on an LCD screen late at night will disrupt your sleep, and techies have been working nearly as long to come up with fixes for that problem. Now, one of those solutions I already mentioned was True Tone, but for night specifically, there's an amazing feature called Night Shift. It's a feature that aims to reduce the amount of sleep-destroying blue light that mobile devices emit. Night Shift is easy to enable and adjust. You can adjust night shift settings by going into Settings, Display and Brightness, where you get 3 controls that let you automatically schedule night shift to kick in. Manually enable it from sunset to sunrise, or choose your own settings and adjust the color temperature from less warm to more warm using a slider. As you drag the slider, you get a quick preview of how the screen will look like. More warm makes the screen deeply amber, where less warm is more off-white. Choose what's best for you. Trust me, whether it's reading at night or just in dark environments, night shift really helps. But there is one more software trick that is quite amazing, that works really well, and that's Auto Night Mode. Auto Night Mode automatically switches to white on black text for easier reading in the dark, so you can get lost in a story without keeping anyone awake. When the light gets brighter, it switches back. Plus, like Kindles, you can adjust the font and font size to suit your preferences. Now, another big argument people make is that iPads are bombarded with notifications, whereas the focus on Kindle is just to read. Well, with iPad OS, you have a certain feature where you don't really have to worry about that anymore, and that feature is called Focus. Focus is a new feature that filters notifications and apps based on what a user wants to focus on. As a reader, you can set your iPad to help you be in the moment by creating a custom focus or selecting a suggested focus, which uses on-device intelligence to suggest which people and apps are allowed to notify you. For an example, you can create a focus for reading. So when you're reading and you turn the focus switch on, then you won't be bombarded with notifications and alerts, so the main objective is to focus on the task you are doing, free of distractions. Of course, you can customize these alerts by urgency, but it's nice that the distraction can be alleviated. One other benefit of the iPad is you're not just closed off to Amazon's ecosystem. Like yes, you can use the Kindle app for Kindle books and Audible app for audiobooks, but you can also use other applications for books and audiobooks. Take Apple Books for an example. I love the deals and limited offerings that they have, and I just can't get those from Amazon at times, and vice versa. So with the iPad, I have a ton of options from where I can get my content from. In conclusion, the Kindle is a fantastic e-reader, especially with its amazing e-ink display and long battery life, where it can last weeks on a single charge. With an iPad, yes, the LCD screen is glossy and you may have to charge it daily or maybe every day, but it's certainly an amazing e-reader with the display and software and enhancements I just mentioned. On top of that, if you're traveling, you don't need to carry multiple devices. You can carry one portable paperback-sized iPad mini where you can read books, listen to audiobooks, and do a lot of other things such as watch movies, browse the web, or play games. It's one device that basically does it all. But hey, what matters to me is you. What are your thoughts on the Kindle versus iPad debate? Do you think this new iPad mini has a chance of being a good e-reader? Well, let me know and comment below. Till then, see you next time.